Here's another small project that is part of the greater apartment renovation. I like the kitchen. The layout's all right. It's kind of a pinch point here. I'm sure some people have noticed. It's nice to have this vintage metal sink base and enamel top sink. And this is, you know, white again. Here we want to repeat, like I was saying, we got a white stove we're going to swap with the neighbor, and the fridge is white, and we're going to have that kind of motif in here. We have an issue here. This is wide enough to accommodate like a wardrobe style refrigerator, which would be cool if the next tenant wanted to have. It would add a really nice look to this kitchen if they had that. But right now we have a normal fridge. It's not quite wide enough to fill that. That's okay. I have decided to justify it over here. We may turn the handles around. You want the door to open toward where the magic happens, and you know, this is unhandy to work to this side of the fridge. You know, to pass the door and work into the refrigerator, then head back to the sink stove is not desirable. So be that as it may, we have a weird space between where it's nice to have the oven and stove, it's nice to have the fridge here, and we have this dead space. It would be cool if I built a whole lower cabinet and if I had more of this countertop and I had a little piece there. I don't have that kind of time, and we chose to solve it differently. What we did was went to the Gently Used Home Store, which is a local gently used home goods store, which we love, and we love Ange and her daughter Gina, and they do a great job reselling stuff. And we found this little enamel top table with a little drawer, and we'll just match the contact paper with what we end up with in the cabinets to tie everything together again. The white enamel top will go with our white enamel top motif, and it'll make a nice work surface. It is just a 30 inches tall table height rather than a work surface height, so it's coming in, you know, about yay, and I want to bring it up more closely in elevation to these two worktops here. And the other idea is we're going to put a shelf around the bottom of it, throughout the bottom legs, because we have this ugly drain and water and the gas valve and everything here, the utilities for the kitchen side, whoops, and for the washer side stuff coming through the wall there. It's just unsightly. So, because we didn't end up finding just one singular lower cabinet, metal style, which was kind of what I had in my mind, we're going to just add a shelf underneath here, and I'm going to extend the legs. And that's just a matter of turning. We flipped it over, or I flipped it over, and it has your usual, hang on, bear with me. Go for a little ride here. It has your usual corner gusset. There's a threaded stud installed in the leg, and it passes the steel corner gusset and has a nut on it. And when you tighten that guy all up, it sucks this whole assembly together in each corner. And when these cuts on the edge of the skirt or stretchers, when the cuts are square on those ends and the sides square and everything, and everybody becomes tight here, it builds a nice strong singular leg that isn't tied together with anything across the bottom, and that's why that's done that way. When you buy older furniture that was built that way, normally it needs to be tightened, which is the case here. It was a simple matter of backing that nut off, and the legs just come away loose. And so, like I say, they have a, oh yeah, there we go, gravity wins. They have a stud installed on them, and they just come in like that, and the nut goes on. So I just need to have these a bit longer. So what I'm going to do is simply, they're kind of beaten up as well. This one's kind of really bad. When we're finished here, this table itself is going to get painted in to match the blue cabinets and everything. The top will stay white. So what that allows me to do is come in and just put a 45, cut this in the miter saw at 45 degrees and do a scarf. Just create, so I'm going to create some stock that's whatever this is, 2x2, and I'm going to 45 off the leg above the serious damage. We like the character that the rest of it has. So above the really bad damage, I'm going to 45 it off and take some of my new stock and start that with a 45 and glue it up together with a pin maybe in there too. And just, you know, the piece I add is going to have 6 extra inches on it to get us from 30 to 36 instead. So I'll do that to all 4 legs. I'm just going to mill some stock that matches, cut all 4 of these off quick, make 4 equal length pieces that are longer, add them with some glue, and then process it all together. I'll sand it out, all 4 faces together, probably get the hammer out and just beat up the edges of the new stuff and just tie that in and just start smashing my way up here just very lightly and tie that all in texturally speaking. Maybe a little bit of spackle if there's a tiny bit of a witness on the seam, just to have an element of good craftsmanship, because you certainly wouldn't see it to stand and notice it here. I like to do things like this project and hope that somebody notices it or never notices it at all, or it would be a long time from now. But these will look fresher, they'll be longer, it should be no trouble. And while I'm at it, I'll make provisions on the leg for a shelf. And what I'll do is the shelf will be a rectangle, and I'll notch the inside corner of all 4 legs where I want it to live to accommodate the corner of the rectangle. Then it comes in at an angle into the right space, and then you just turn it at the correct elevation, and the corners will swing into these notches tight. And then you can tow from underneath through the corner of the shelf and into the meat of the table leg all around, and put some glue in there as well. And that's how you do that when it comes to adding a shelf to a end table or something like this. It'll all be blue, and then as soon as there's a shelf, look at my hand is 4 feet off the floor, but the illusion will work the same way. As soon as there's a shelf between your eye and that crap on the floor, you won't see it. Of course, if we duck down, we can here. The fact of the matter is the shelf will be in here, about 6 inches off the floor, and you would have to get down on your hands and knees and have your head on the floor before you notice this crap. It'll work great. You can have a basket with your potatoes or the cookie jar or whatever you want to put there, and it'll work out. And that'll be, I think I got this table and a little bookcase for like $100 or a little more. We paid with cash, and with an hour and a half of my time, it'll be ready for paint, and it's a neat little custom thing I wanted to call out. All right, check us out later.